Hello again YouTube, Dr. Jonas Welsh here, or Jonas Welsh, also at 11 on Union on City of Heroes, and this is part 2 of looking at the character Vénus Baissé. So pretty much like 11, I had a second version of Vénus, although unlike 11, which essentially I wanted to keep the scrap format and it was just a case of going from with Vénus, I decided I was the Corruptor was the main one, obviously, with the Electric Blast and Storm summoning. But what I wanted to do was have another. Well, you know, obviously I've mentioned Scrapper was my favourite. So what I went for was Staff Melee, which only came out this year, essentially. So this character, yeah. So this character was only recently made, and unfortunately hasn't really had much playtime as such, because essentially the set had only just come out recently, which is a shame, because it looked like it was going to be a pretty decent set. The armour set that I'm going for in this one, or went with this one I should say, is electric armour. So I was keeping with the theme that obviously she's based in lightning and electricity and whatnot, so kept that theme going. But otherwise, yeah, it was just electric armour. I actually had a character previously that was electric armour, that was Bruce. My first Bruce, in fact, was originally electric armour based, and got him to 50, but considering the concept had him for being literally a massive, you know, brute that was virtually unstoppable, electric armour wasn't really big on the sort of defence. Its damage resistance was decent, but it was mostly for elemental situations. So, you know, obviously other lightning-based powers essentially would null and void, but it would be pretty decent for, you know, fire and ice as well. So not very big on defences. So he ended up getting remade, but you'll see him in due course. Vénus didn't mind actually going for electric armour, obviously just, you know, keep with the concept and whatnot, and was still fairly survivable given the situation, by virtue of just the IOs. Again, helps out a little bit. Although, like most of the weapon sets for the Scrappers and the Stalkers, to an extent, is that they usually had a power that offered a boost in defense. So that'd be this one here, the guarded spin. So that would actually give you a temporary boost for defense, but recharge quickly enough so that you could have it on more situations. So it was pretty good. It helps out. But, yeah, it was IO build. Try to obviously get as much damage resistance and defense out of it as possible, but only go so far if you go electric armour. But yeah, Staff Melee again followed the suit for a lot of the new power sets actually, where it wasn't just simply straight powers and that was it. You actually had 3 forms, pretty much like the dual pistols actually, that had effects to go for. To be quite honest, for Vénus, I kind of stuck to the form of soul, which I believe was the return of endurance. To be quite honest, the other ones had other effects, but I ended up just sticking with that one form because the character was still endurance heavy without it, so that was the problem with it. So the other thing was it also copied from the Street Justice power set of actually having a combo system. So you notice at some point I actually achieve a level 3 combo, and 2 of the powers have an orange circle above them, which would actually give the bonus based on the mode that I'm in, which is Form of the Soul. They would also offer more damage as a result as well of doing that. So there was the AoE, which is the sweep, the sort of like fancy sweep that you've seen me doing quite a bit, and then sort of big sweeping smash as well. I don't need that click. That's just information. I'm looking for the bomb clickies. So Yeah, when Staff Melee was announced it was coming out, I actually was initially going to make a third version of 11 that was going to use Staff Melee, and just basically say it was like on the ultra rare occasion that he actually does something with a bit of grace and style, rather than just more of a sort of like, you know, brute. But I thought, nah, it probably would be a bit overkill actually having that many levels. It would take 4 in total, like, you know. So I just thought, nah, I'll do something else. And I thought, screw it, I'll just make another canoe, because she's somewhat tied to 11, you know, in sort of like, you know, backstory that I created. In that she was some form of mentor to 11. You know, before she was essentially in the position where she essentially now has to, you know, is forced to team with 11. Essentially get involved in the fights herself. So I thought, well, it makes sense that you know, she also professes some form of martial arts as well. So I thought, yeah, I'll make her be the one that has the staff melee. So seemed to be a fairly fun power set, but like I say, the tragic thing was that it was only really just early this year that it came out. So it is at level 50, and you know, the recent, you know, the price crash before and during the summer, before it was actually announced that the game was shutting down, for a lot of the IO recipes helped out a lot on, and obviously you know, getting the IO build done. Yeah, I didn't really have much in the way of playtime. She's not incarnated out in any way, shape or form. I think I might have got at least the T2 off, I can't even remember. So not even enough for a level shift, so it would have been the intention obviously to get the new incarnated out very much like the corrupted version. There we go, I need to self-heal all of a sudden, so rare occurrence, but I've needed it. Bloody freak show resurrecting. Popular enemy group, Freak Show, actually, a lot of people tend to like them. They were a good enemy group. I did, you know, I suppose I'm not thumblasting too badly, so there was a lot worse enemies in the game that you just didn't want to deal with, so Freak Show weren't too bad. They were pretty popular for a reason. I'm just going to finish this fight off with, if there's one thing, I mean, I've obviously, like I said, I've got IO builds on a lot of characters, and you know, some are even more extreme than others. But this version of Vénus with the staff fighting is the only one that actually has a complete set. Oh, okay, hang on, I'll just finish off and I'll show. So, anyone watching this obviously knows about IOs and whatnot. Just for further proof, this is the only character out of all the ones that I got where I actually had a complete set of PvP IOs. That's the Gladiator's Armour. I actually didn't get involved. I was never interested in PvP. I'm still not interested in PvP. I've never seen an MMO where people haven't whinged that PvP is broken, or you know, whatnot, or at least the argument is no, it's fine, no, it's broken, or this, that, and the other. And I think really just the way the game felt, and most MMOs feels, where it's simply, it's not real time combat, and PvP just doesn't do it for us really. It's not interested. So, plus, I mean, you know, competitive online play seems to bring on the worst of people, and I just don't bother with it, to be honest, you know. So I don't really get involved with a lot of the old sort of, you know, sort of like console-based FPS, you know, anymore, and I just can't be bothered with the mentality. So, but the PvP IOs were usually still sought after, because they still worked in PvE situations. But I didn't have a character that had a complete set, or at least Beat would come up with a plan that had a complete set. You might have a one that used the Gladiator's Armour that had the defense proc, which was very helpful. But it was also the mostly sought after. It was usually like it was actually at one point that one was you couldn't even buy it at the market. Well, you could buy it at the market for the maximum influence cap of 2 billion, but there was usually never on the market, and you'd have like at least 200 people after it. A lot of people, actually, the one I I've got a one in like the corrupted version of the news build, and that one was actually purchased on the forum, by the forums, where people were actually, you know, essentially trading them beyond the 2 billion cap. So, but then there was like a big price crash actually with a lot of the enhancement converters. So a lot of people were able to get a hold of enhancements that were after a lot easier with the converters. So the prices dropped early this year, which was good for people like me because I didn't have any problem building Infamy. It was just, you know, still acquiring some of the recipes every so often and whatnot, but you know, building Infamy or Influence, depending on which side wasn't, or I should just say Inf because it was Inf, you know, globally, was always, you know, fairly easy to us. But obviously, all of a sudden you could pick up the Gladiator's armors for 300 million instead of, you know, the 2 billion or beyond the cap via the forums and whatnot. So. It was a little bit easier, obviously, getting that complete set of PvP IOs, but, you know, I wasn't going to do it again anytime soon. Well, I'm not going to do it now, obviously, but, you know, if this game was still running, I probably wouldn't do it again, because it was still somewhat painful, but, yeah. It's the only character I had where it was a complete set of PvP IO, because they were that rare, obviously, so, but, yeah, it's a shame. It was. It seemed like a decent set. I don't think a lot of my fellow sort of friends that I've got in Sea Heroes actually had much of a chance to play with the set themselves. Actually, I think some of them had some lower level teams that were getting there, but they hadn't really got a chance to experience the 50. So, yeah, very high recharge rate on it. Which would make up for essentially the low damage. It was probably one of the more low damaging sets in comparison to all the other ones, and I think it was just made up to the fact that obviously there was the components of these three down here with the combo system, but also, yeah, high recharge meant that the damage might be low, but at least it was frequent enough so that you'd still take them down quickly. So. There's Blasphemous and the boatload of Mulder. This is probably not going to end well. Oh wait, no, actually, so yeah, Mulder were not very popular, primarily because of sappers, which were only minions, but they completely drain your endurance. But then again, I'm electric armor, which meant that that was essentially made for them void. So yeah, I don't really care about that one. So the health is going down. I think I'm going to virtue into the hibernate here. Yeah. This is one of the actually this is one of the Patreon clubhouse on the villain side. I actually temporarily made the character villain side because the build had to make use of water spout. Hibernate was essentially one of the ancillary ones for just in case, but needed that close to the missions anyway. Get the water spout out, that causes a bit of a nuisance. Knock back the bottom, so actually that was a point. The overwhelming force that came out with the summer events, which was going to convert knock back to knock down. I was going to put that IO into water spout actually, but again that was another one that was never really done in the end, so probably going to leave it after this mob actually because I'm going to be running out of time. So yeah, that's essentially the new. Oh, there we go. Probably going to run out of time before I get the chance to take down the Zeus class Titans just basically merged. So yeah, so this is that was the Venu, the Corrupt was the main, but I also made this staff melee version, which was still pretty good. So stay tuned, more characters to come, and I'll catch you later.